Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this weather presentation for April 17th, 2020. As always, please don't forget to subscribe as well as checking out my website. There is the link to it down in the description below, as well as across my channel in any of the different sections. And also please consider ringing the bell notifications and looking at my previous videos in the description. So today we're going to be talking about not one, not two, but possibly three more severe weather outbreaks across the southeast. But today I want to kind of focus more on the one that's coming on Sunday and the Monday, because that one is the one that we know we have more confidence in because it's closer in time. It's only a couple of days away, and it's actually an enhanced threat. Might not be quite as bad as last time, but it's still a serious threat that we have to pay attention to. So we'll talk about that one more today. And obviously we'll be covering the other outbreaks if there is developing, conditions for them as we go on in time. So we're going to be showing you the NAM model first, some Storm Prediction Center maps, then the GFS model, then the European. So the NAM is going to have the most maps available. Sadly, the GFS doesn't have quite as many, and the European only has a few. So we're going to be looking at those maps for you, starting with the simulated radar imagery. Okay, so this is 10 to today, Saturday, and here's Sunday. And you can see RDC at Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Let me move this over here. Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning, we do have some showers and thunderstorms. Obviously, those areas of yellow and light orange being the areas with the thunderstorm activity, but it won't be quite as potent because it's in the morning. Okay, but you see it does, nonetheless, take its hold and does start to get a little bit of its strength. In northern Georgia, could see some thunderstorms. Atlanta Metro, maybe by noontime. And heading that little batch heads into South Carolina by 2. And then with that low pressure here, right here, and this is your thunderstorm activity. This is 5 p.m. on Sunday. And watch as the low really takes its shape. And there's your thunderstorm setting up. Alabama into Georgia, as well as Tennessee. And then that takes sort of a banding feature. And this is 11 p.m. on Sunday, and then you can see that band from Alabama all the way to South Carolina. That's the thing, though. This is the exact same region from Louisiana through Arkansas all the way through South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. This is where we just had the severe weather threat. This will be happening exactly a week after the last one. It's literally the same exact time, Sunday into Monday. And the region we think is going to be the same, but it could be a touch south. But the NAM model does seem to keep it pretty far north as well. Then eventually it turns into more of a band and it pushes down to the south and east. So maybe Florida, you'll get a chance for some more shower activity heading into Monday afternoon actually, but it won't be quite as sophisticated. You can see there's a little band headed towards Orlando, but might not be as potent as it was before. All right, next map. Okay, we'll be sharing this in the same exact order as we look at the other models. So next in line is the cyclonic vorticity map, and I'll kind of show you the energy for these thunderstorms. And here you go. Here is 2 p.m. Sunday with that first batch. And pretty potent here. Tennessee, Georgia, heading into South Carolina, that purple and that teal coloring. And there it is at 5 p.m. Sunday. With that initial first morning batch. And then you're going to start to see your potential areas of more energy here. These are your areas that you're going to want to watch out for some developing thunderstorms with that energy in the atmosphere, that daytime heating of the day, which we will have other maps that I will be showing you for that as well. And here's your region right here: northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia. There you go. And especially near Birmingham, especially strong area according to the NAM model of these strong, potent areas of energy. And look at this. Look at by 2 a.m. Monday, and it just there's like a whole streak going from Georgia all the way into North Carolina. Keep in mind, sometimes storms lose their structure overnight, but that's not always the case. In fact, the tornadoes can be 2 to 3 times more dangerous overnight. Sometimes in the early morning, thunderstorms can lose their strength, but every storm, no matter what time of day, has to be taken seriously. Okay, in this case, it looks like it won't be dying overnight. Here's one band through Georgia and South Carolina. There's another band up towards North Carolina. Well, this isn't necessarily precipitation, but the energy and the cyclonic vorticities. You'll be seeing, well, I'll be using this map in my hurricane coverage videos as well for this season. and there's another little piece of energy through Georgia, and then eventually everything will make its way off the coast. Okay, this is overnight Monday into Tuesday, so everything's going to be well gone by then. Okay, so here's a surface-based cape. Okay, as I start tracking severe weather more this season, you'll be seeing me, or I'll be using this a lot more. These are measured in joules per kilogram, and the more energy there is, as you'll see once I pull up the correct time frame, the more energy that you have, the more like the thunderstorms can grow. The thunderstorms feed off of that energy, and this is one of the aspects of our severe weather event. So all the energy is going to rise from the south here, and here's your region so far. Okay, by 2 p.m. Sunday, anywhere in that, especially that red color, 3,500, even over 4,000 joules per kilogram, right there in Mississippi, and that is where you can really. That's where that heat energy is really present. And this is overnight Monday. We still have some heat energy up towards Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, and even actually still streaming into New Orleans, Biloxi, Mobile, still getting some energy getting streamed into that region. Then eventually everything makes its way off of the coast. Okay, next is our wind shear. This is our bulk shear. Okay, the more of this you have, the more we can actually have that tornado development, and it's certainly something we do not want. All right, so here is Sunday, and you can see, I'm not going quite that much on the wind shear. We still have some areas of red that need to be taken seriously, but this is only 8 a.m. Sunday so far. And then the wind shear does starts to grow. And in the South Carolina there's your area of red you especially need to watch out for. And look back towards the west. Okay, here's your building area of wind shear. But the purple has still got, 70 knots, hurricane force winds up there, way up in the atmosphere for that bulk shear. And then this is overnight Monday, and this is going to be your regions where you're going to really have that enhanced tornado threat. The shear is all about the tornadoes. We can still have hail, damaging winds, rain otherwise, but this really ties into the tornado threat. And take a look at this. By early Monday morning, 5 a.m., we got some really intense shear. So if the storms can last, they could potentially have some spin in them. All right, next is a supercell composite. This is basically like the probability of supercells, okay? And that does kind of relate to the cape because the higher the cape is, the more that they can actually produce some supercells. So let's head through the day here. Here's Sunday at 2 p.m. And Mississippi, eastern part, we got about a 20, and this graph goes up to about 50. Yeah, 50. So, I mean, if you want to do the math, you can kind of say a 2 out of 5 chance, 20 out of 50, so that's about a 40% chance, but nonetheless, anywhere in that yellow region and orange region, that's where you're going to need to be watching out because that's where that number is of a 10 plus. So at least a 20% chance of supercells in that region. And that is a very decent chance. Okay, 20% is a lot. Okay, I know it doesn't sound like a lot in real life and statistics and probability, but when you look at it in terms of severe weather, this is actually a dangerous threat, even if you see only 20%. And then the supercell threat wears off a little bit overnight. It does have a little respark. Okay, Georgia, Alabama can see up to a 20% chance again. Okay, and then eventually everything will be moving east. Now, thankfully, this won't be lasting that long, but it will be lasting in the afternoon and potentially parts of the overnight, which again, that's one of the most dangerous aspects here. This is the same map, except this time we're talking about significant tornado parameter. And this one, I don't really know what it really quite goes up to. It's hard to say because it goes up unevenly. So I kind of want to say 10, but it could be 12. It goes up to. And look at this. Louisiana, Mississippi, anywhere in that red and purple needs to be taken very seriously. According to the NAM model here. Very dangerous threats. As a matter of fact, eastern Mississippi right there is over a 5. Okay, and that's nearly to the top of the graph here. So we're talking about at least 60-70% chance of significant tornadoes. And I mean, the threat stays pretty high. I mean, this is 11 o'clock Monday night, and we still got some areas that still need to watch out. Mobile, we're still at a 3.5. Okay, and that's like right in the middle. So even Mobile still have a 50% chance of significant tornadoes developing or significant thunderstorms that develop that could produce tornadoes and just lasting well into the overnight. And then eventually everything pushes down into Florida. And that's, well, we're talking about well into Tuesday now. Now, this correlates with the moisture, obviously the dew points, okay? So the higher the number, okay, this isn't the temperature, but the dew point, even though it's measured in Fahrenheit as well. The higher this number is, the more moisture there is. Okay, so anywhere in that teal coloring and point south, that's where your dew point is 60 degrees plus. And 60 degrees plus is really where you start to get into that humid air. Yeah, I kind of lost my drawing device for a second. And anywhere in that lavender color right here and point south from there, that's where our dew points are 70 degrees plus. So once you get into those 70, 65, 70 degree dew points and higher, well, 70 and higher is pretty much oppressive. 60 to 69 is kind of like that humid range, that muggy air. And anything below 60, kind of in that comfortable range. 40 to 60 is kind of like your comfy zone, so to speak. Okay, but especially 40, 50 is your most comforting zone. But as we head through Sunday, watch the dew points just rise from the south, and we got widespread dew points of 70 degrees plus all across the southeast. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. And this will correlate or correspond with the heavy rainfall threat because this moisture is just so excessive. Okay, you got to remember that the Gulf of Mexico is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above average, the waters. Okay, so since the waters are so far above average, in some parts of the Gulf of Mexico are already 80 degrees plus, like 82. And it's only April. So you got time for the Gulf of Mexico to warm up. But the highest dew points of 75 plus should mostly stay in the water. But still, nonetheless, anywhere in that dark teal color, that lavender color, that's some extreme dew points, or excessive, well, not excessive, but definitely very high dew points that can lead to some flooding rainfall and the moisture. But notice though, this is Tuesday at 2 a.m. and we still got some pretty humid air. I mean, 60 degrees plus of dew points. All right, so here's the Storm Prediction Center. Okay, this isn't the outlook for Sunday. This is actually Saturday. So we're going to start with Saturday. And there's actually a threat for northern Florida. Orlando, Gainesville, Spring Hill, Lakeland, and Palm Bay. All you guys are in a slight threat, which is the highest threat on here for this current day. I mean, that's not the highest ever, but when we talk about this, it's a 2 out of 5, and that's the highest layer that we have on here. That's affecting over 5.5 million people, all in Florida. So again, Orlando, Gainesville, Spring Hill, Lakeland, and Palm Bay. All very great places, and that's over 24,000 square miles. And the marginal risk, okay, which consists of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, the Arklatex, including Mississippi, as well as other parts of Florida outside of that yellow zone. Some of those larger population areas are Houston, San Antonio, Jacksonville, Austin, and New Orleans. So, marginal threat over 25.5 million people, and that's just Saturday alone. We're not talking about Sunday yet when the real threat is. So you can see, well, why all the black areas? Well, the black is the population. So the more deeply concentrated the black is, the more population. So again, here's the I-95 corridor, Boston to D.C. That's why that's all shaded in. There's Chicago. Atlanta's there. Orlando's here. Dallas, Houston, L.A. So you get the gist. Okay, and there's Minneapolis up there. So all those more densely populated areas, and we don't want to see that. We want to see less black. We want to see like this region we want to see that kind of population down here, because if that was the case, less people will be impacted by severe weather. But sadly, at least if this kind of severe outbreak setup would hit the I-95, okay, which is like a very populated part of the United States, or like the Great Lakes, and it'd be talk about a different story. But still, okay, we're still talking about Saturday alone over 30 million people, so the safety of every human being, okay, when we're talking about this kind of situation, needs to be taken seriously, no matter how small the threat may seem right now. Day 3, okay, this is Sunday to Monday, and here's your real risk zone, okay, yellow and orange, that's where you really need to pay attention, okay, and I'll name the areas, the cities that are in that zone. So starting with enhanced over 10 million people, just in the orange color alone, not total, but the orange color alone. And that includes Baton Rouge, Montgomery, Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, and Jackson, Mississippi. So some areas, but there's also some other areas like Savannah, I know is in there, Macon, Georgia, Mobile. Oh wait, I said that already. But just south of Birmingham as well. Birmingham is actually in the yellow color. So the yellow color, which is at slight risk, at 2 out of 5 as opposed to 3 out of 5. And remember, this can always get upgraded as well. So that's affecting over nearly 16.5 million, additional 16.5 million people. That includes Houston, so the Houston Metroplex is very populated. New Orleans, Atlanta, Birmingham, and Shreveport. So Houston and Atlanta, as you can tell by the population graph, are two very there's two places that are pretty packed in with a lot of black color. New Orleans not necessarily, but New Orleans is still a big city. And finally, the marginal threat is going to impact an additional 11 million people, and that includes Jacksonville, Florida, Huntsville, Florida, Gainesville, Columbia, South Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina. Now that's that dark green. The light green is just a general, thunderstorm threat, but still, general thunderstorms can still produce lightning and flooding. Okay, we're not going to see like damaging, destruction in that very light green shading, but it's all in this region right here. So a place like Central South Florida, we're in the light green, which is thunderstorms. We can still see thunder and lightning, but just not the damaging storms that we're going to be seeing in the southeast potentially. Okay, so all the maps I just showed you, okay, obviously the GFS doesn't provide quite as much as the NAM, but we're going to be showing them in the same order. All right, so starting out with the simulated radar here. Thankfully, this skips 6 hours at a time as opposed to 1. But here we go. Okay, Sunday at 2 p.m., there's your thunderstorm complex, Louisiana, Mississippi, starting to really come together here, and look at this. We got a complex in Mississippi and a even bigger complex, like 2-3 times the size, moving through pretty much all of northern Georgia, heading into South Carolina. And look at this. The low really gets in there, starts spinning around. Okay, starts deepening the actual low in central Georgia, and even extending all the way down through Mobile. Some damaging thunderstorms potentially. This is 2 a.m. on Monday, so pretty much all of you, or a lot of you, are going to be sleeping unless you're like staying up all night. That's the thing too, because God forbid you're sleeping and then the tornado siren starts going off and you have no idea. So you want to make sure that you're staying awake, and you want to make sure you have a way of getting those alerts, turning on those public safety alerts. And here it is right here, pushing off the coast of the southeast coast, that band, and that's not until 8 a.m. on Monday. So this could be lasting a decent long time. Okay, we're not saying it's going to be a whole widespread, like huge band of rain and everybody's going to get impacted. It will be a scattered threat, but still a lot of you will get hit, even though the threat is overall scattered. It's not isolated, like one spot gets it and the next town over won't. No, a lot of you, a decent amount of you will get hit, but this isn't like a huge, widespread, monstrous event. But still, everyone needs to stay safe and vigilant because you don't know if you're going to get hit or not yet. This is still very scattered, but the models do give you an idea. And here's some areas of energy that are moving through Georgia, Mississippi. And then look at this. Monday, 8 a.m., everything's off the coast. We still have some some light energy left there, but not enough to produce some thunderstorms by any means. Everything will be pushing through Monday morning, hopefully Monday afternoon, everything will be fine. Okay, so the GFS, like the NAM, does provide the Cape map, so that joules per kilogram, that energy that we need for those thunderstorms. And here it is, Mississippi, Alabama. There's your threat there, and we also have a threat back off the map there towards Texas. Some higher joules per kilogram, over 3,000 actually. Oops, sorry about that. 3,000 for a place like Alabama. And then a little bit later, Sunday at 8 p.m., the threat shifts back towards the Arklatex region, and then everything's going to push south. And everything's limited to the Gulf Coast. That's where your highest heat energy will be, and then everything is out of here. Here is the bulk shear. Okay, so again, that wind shear that I was talking about. And just watch this. Here's Saturday. Okay, so you got some wind shear coming through on Saturday as well, but Sunday, overnight here is 2 a.m. on Monday. Alabama into Georgia, as well as central Georgia here. We're seeing those highest levels of those wind shear, meaning those thunderstorms can really turn, develop, and rotate into potential tornadoes. And into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. This is by Monday morning, that highest wind shear area, and everything is off the coast by then. Just to recap, last Sunday's system, like over at least 150 tornadoes. It's probably a lot more than that by now. But there were actually a few EF3s, and this year is on pace to be a lot worse, a lot more potentially damaging than 2019 was. And 2019 was a pretty bad tornado season as well. Like, we don't have a designated real time for tornado season like we do hurricane season, but April to June is that time frame where the most severe weather can occur, April to June. And May is typically the worst. So here is the GFS supercell composite, like the NAM. You can see not quite as high, but still, you do have your areas of potential supercell developments. Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, they still got that threat, and everything moves off the coast by Monday morning. Okay, here's the dew points as well. They don't have the significant tornado parameter like the NAM model did, but they do have the dew point map, which, I hope you do. Sunday at 2 p.m., you can see that we have those 70-degree dew points, plus, again, all in that lavender shading Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, into Florida. Not quite getting into Georgia yet, but we still got over 60-degree dew points. And once that storm system moves through, you got moisture pushing out ahead of it, a little bit drier air pushing in behind it. And for places up north, you're going to feel more of a relief out of this, some 40, 50-degree dew points, that comfortable zone. But once you live in the south, it's going to take a lot longer for you to recover from this. You can see the dew points won't drop below 60 until Tuesday morning. Whereas towards the northern part, like towards Tennessee, Monday morning, we're already below 50-degree dew points. So the excessive rainfall, okay, again, this is not Sunday yet. This is Saturday. We're starting with Saturday. So don't be, ooh, battery's running low. Sorry about that, just a little battery issue there. Anyway, we're all plugged in. So again, Saturday, Texas into Louisiana, that's where your marginal risk is for excessive rainfall. But, however, by day 3, that excessive rainfall, again, slight to moderate, that's going to be your region here of excessive rainfall. And usually what happens is the severe threat is usually a little bit more far south, and then your excessive rainfall risk is usually a little bit further north. So you see the excessive rainfall risk, the marginal risk extends all the way up just south of the Delmarva, whereas the severe risk was only limited down here. So usually the excessive rainfall risk is just a little bit north of where the severe weather risk is, but still, it's the same general area, right there in the southeast, Louisiana, all the way over into North Carolina again. So it's where you really want to watch out for the potential of some very heavy rainfall. Now, before I get into the European model real quick, you really have to know how to get those emergency alerts because it is important. You do not want to be asleep, especially since these are coming overnight. So here is how to enable your emergency alerts. So how to enable your emergency alerts on an Apple device. So if you are in your settings app, you go to notifications, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and at the bottom it says government alerts. You want to make sure that Amber alerts, emergency alerts, and public safety alerts are all toggled to the green, and make sure everything is enabled so you get all the alerts if you live in the southeast or any time that you could potentially be getting severe weather. All these government alerts are very handy to have, and hopefully they are turned on for you and they will work in any city or town. So making sure you all know that. So please consider turning on those alerts to get the latest information from the National Weather Service in your local region. So that is how to get those alerts on your device if a severe weather event happens to come your way. European model sadly doesn't have all the information as the GFS and the NAM did, but still, look at the simulated radar map. Okay, Texas, Louisiana, the whole radar is just lit up across the southeast here, and it's just not a good sign. That's 2 p.m. Look at 8 p.m. though. The Euro is just really lighting up the radar, and they weren't even that enthusiastic about this before. But all these little cells, okay, can produce some damage, and even though it only looks like yellow, we're like, I thought red on the radar meant all destructive. Well, yellow and orange is a lot too, okay? And here it is, 999 millibars of pressure. They really have this storm developed. This is only 2 a.m. on Monday morning, and we have a band pushing towards the south and over northeastern Gulf. And watch, because if the European model is dead on here and that band gets into Florida, that's not good because the Gulf of Mexico has been so warm and so moist that above average water temperatures like that, so really feel some moisture. So watch out Tampa potentially, according to the European model, at 2 p.m. on Monday. And even Orlando could get a brief shot of rain from that little band. And everything is off the coast by Monday morning, or at the very latest, late Monday morning. Well, they do provide the 850 millibar cyclonic vorticities as well, so thank you, European model, for that. And again, Mississippi, Alabama, Northern Georgia, there's your region there of your highest amounts of energy. And take a look at this. That low really gets tightened and wound up, and there you go. Got your little regions of potentially some severe or areas of excessive energy and potentially some severe weather. All right, so here is again the bulk wind shear with the European model, and look at this. Well, they don't put as much wind shear on here, but in that red region, that's where we can see potentially some spinning of the thunderstorms. And there you go, 8 a.m. Georgia, up there in the North Carolina. I know the camera does kind of obscure it, but it is there. And then eventually it all pushes out by Monday morning into Monday afternoon. And again, here's a final look at the dew points. And you can see here they come. 2 p.m. Sunday, 8 p.m. Sunday, and eventually there you go. 2 a.m. Monday along the Gulf Coast, and eventually well into areas across the southeast. That's where we're going to be 60-degree dew points plus, and then eventually everything, the storm clears out, lower dew points push south, and the European model has the lower dew points getting there a lot sooner than the GFS and the NAM do. So hopefully, try to see which model wins, but no model is predicting a zero severe weather event. So you need to stay on guard, and hopefully we will keep track of this and stay tuned. The next maybe 10 to 14 days will be my next hurricane season outlook. And we just got another source in, a new source just added their outlook as well. So hopefully you'll take a good look at that in the next 10 to 14 days. Thank you for watching this video. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Thank you for watching.